What notable competitions have you been a part of? I can only think of one area of competition in which I was involved during my high school years that I would call notable. I had determined by the fifth grade that I was going to shoot for the state championship in percussion at the Alabama All-State Festival when I reached high school. In the ninth grade, which was called junior high in those days, band director George Prince suggested I audition for the high school All-State. I won a spot at the regional level and gained an audition spot at the state level. There were a few razzle-dazzle snare drummers at the high school level that zipped right by my level of playing at that time, but I still managed a spot in the Red Band, the top All-State band. I played bass drum that year under guest conductor Leonard B. Smith. My mother arranged to take off work for the required days and served as chauffeur for 3 or 4 school musicians and chaperone for us kids. My 10th grade year, I placed a little better on the local level and was in good shape for capturing the top spot at the state level. Unfortunately, the judge that year juggled the final audition scores a little to allow a senior band member to edge me out by a point or two. That put me in the white band, which was the second level all-state band. Still, it was a trip to Tuscaloosa for a few days and an opportunity to rub elbows with the finest school musicians and national level directors. It was my junior year at Robert E. Lee High School that I was loaded for bear and ready to claim the title of state champion. My drum line captured 5 of the top spots from our region, all of whom attended All-State. That was a rather spectacular drum line in 1966 and 1967. Trip Etheridge took the second spot and was every bit as good a player as I was. The funny story from that audition happened just before my actual audition. There was a warm-up room where we could get the kinks out, catch our breath, and reach for as much courage as possible. Well, Mr. Hotshot that I thought I went in to warm up where several other drummers were stretching their arms and wrists and playing a few drum rudiments on the practice drums. I played a few doodles and then played some fancy complicated cadences, which included backsticking and other show-off techniques. I noticed an older girl really taking in my routine. I figured she was from Birmingham, Huntsville, or other large school system. There were several gifted musicians scattered around the state I had never met. It was now time for my formal audition. That was probably as nervous as I had been at such an all-state audition. I walked into the room with the 3 judges, and lo and behold, the girl from the practice room was one of the 3 judges. She was a young band director. It all worked to my advantage that year as I ran away with the top spot in the state. A dream from elementary school had come true. My senior year, I chose to audition on timpani, the kettle drums, and leave the state champion snare drum spot open for Tripp, as he certainly deserved to win the top medal. I scored second place on the kettles, with the young timpanist from Birmingham Youth Orchestra playing circles around my basic orchestra skills. I was pleased to have made 4 trips to the Alabama All-State festivities and scoring well each year. That year, 1967, I also wrote another selection for a 5-member drum ensemble that we played. We knocked the top out of the rating sheet. The judge just sat back and enjoyed the number. He made no improvement comments. We scored superior for the second year in a row. As an adult teacher, my school choruses and ensembles always rated superior at the regional and state levels. It was a joy competing at the highest levels, especially in Florida, where the standards were very high in those days. In my final teaching days, the glory leveled out as I was assigned to smaller schools and traditions of superior work had dwindled a great deal throughout the school systems. There remain several powerhouse schools with outstanding programs, but the average schools were rarely involved in the superior levels anymore. And a side story, the president of our school fundraising company was in Chattanooga one day and stopped by my school as I had been a long-time customer of his company. It turned out that he was drum major of the Elmore County High School band about the same time that George was drum major of the Robert E. Lee High School band under Johnny Long. I asked if he had ever heard of Brother George, since we had been long rival schools. With almost a reverent tone of voice, he quietly said, "The Hammett brothers were legends throughout the state of Alabama." I took that as quite a tribute. All were All-State winners at one time or another, as well as professional players. Many good memories were made, especially at Alabama All-State and in a number of choral state festivals. Good times indeed.